Life 2.0, or Second Adulthood, is a new phase of life that is being caused by converging social and economic forces. It's typically prompted by a combination of our children becoming adults and reaching a point in our first career where we feel the need to adjust or realign our relationship with our work. It may start as early as the mid-40s and can extend for as long as we have the capacity and desire to maintain it. To provide a better framework for thinking about Life 2.0, let's talk about how we got here. For most of us, as we grew up, we always had an idea of what the next phase of our life would look like. Through some combination of our own observations, interactions with others, and the signals coming from media and culture, we had a kind of mental script about how life should proceed. From childhood to teenager to adulthood to retirement, these scripts presented us with a mental map regarding the challenges and opportunities we would face next. While this kind of mental scripting process has been a part of human culture for as long as we have written history, many of us don't realize how radically different our current situation is relative to most of our predecessors. One frame of reference we can use for this difference is to talk about another phase of life that has recently emerged, the phase of life we call the teenager. For those who aren't aware, the specific phase of adolescence, or what we often call the teenager phase, wasn't a part of our mental life script until sometime between 1900 and 1950. In fact, the first time we see it appear from an academic is in a book by G. Stanley Hall, with a title too long I didn't want to say it, published in 1904 on the topic. However, it wasn't really until the 1950s that we actually started to see popular culture integrating this new phase into our mental scripting. Many point to the 1951 novel, The Catcher in the Rye, as kind of the first real cultural touchstone surrounding the phase of life we call the adolescence or teenager phase. And connecting to that, we really didn't see the kind of teenage culture emerge until the 1950s. What's fascinating about this is there's this 50-year gap between the first time somebody noted this new phase of life and when the rest of culture started to integrate this into their reality. This is probably because this new phase emerged gradually as the convergence of new economic and cultural forces played out. And in fact, it wasn't really teenagers that were new. Obviously, we've always had that age group, but rather the way in which the years of the teenager became something distinct that sat between two classic phases of childhood and adulthood. We see this second adulthood phase in the same way, a new period of life that sits between our first adulthood and conventional retirement. Like the emergence of the teenager, it's the result of a convergence of forces. And while those forces have been growing over time, we're only just now recognizing the effects. We see at least three key forces that have contributed to the emergence of the second adulthood: rising lifespans, the changing nature of work, and the switch from pension-based retirement plans to private retirement plans. The combination of these forces has meant there is a large group of people between 45 and 65 who have the time, health, experience, resources, and desire to live a new adult life. Unfortunately, while they have this desire, there is no mental script for them to do this. No tools, no frameworks. While they have this inner voice pushing them to do something different, the only framework our culture is giving them is the choice between a midlife crisis and retirement. What we found interesting is that almost as soon as we talk about this, people instantly identify someone they know who's already struggling with this new phase. Maybe it's them, maybe a friend or a relative, but we find we're often not really explaining the concept as much as just giving it a name. It's like the simple process of naming it legitimizes it. People realize they're neither weird or alone. What's funny is that it took us so long to actually develop a program to help people manage this new phase of life. And that's because we didn't actually set out to do it. What happened is that on our business consulting side, our business clients were asking us to help them to lead a more integrated life. They wanted to find more alignment between their work and their personal lives. And as we did this, we noticed that many of the clients who wanted this type of guidance had some things in common. They were often in their 50s or 60s. They usually were empty nesters. They often had a desire to change their relationship to work in some way, and they really were not looking forward to a quote-unquote traditional retirement. At some point, we started to talk about this work to others within our social circles, and that's when we noticed that almost everyone we talked to wanted to know if they could get that kind of guidance as well. It was then we began to realize that this was bigger than a few business clients, but it was happening on kind of a global scale. And that led us to sort of put two and two together. We realized what we were seeing as a new phase of life emerging, so we gave it a name. We launched a new organization called Reploy to support that kind of client. And then we developed a program to give people the tools, processes, and support to navigate their own Life 2.0 journey. If that's something you or someone you know might want more information about, please visit our website at www.reploylife.com. That's www.reploylife.com. We look forward to hearing from you.